Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Exia, and we are waiting for the counter to count down. We got 1 minute left. We're going to switch over to the live screen for everybody here that is watching the race here at Spa-Francorchamps. I am your host again, Exia, and we actually have 27 members, ladies and gentlemen. We have Mr. Ricky Scott joining in here with us. We're going to ride along board. Brian Katz here as we finish up 38 seconds left of free practice before we jump into qualifying. I want to give a huge shout out to all the viewers that are watching, as well as all the drivers that are coming out and showcasing themselves here in this race. It is truly an honor to have all of you here as we get going. It's definitely going to be a fun race. 27 drivers on such a big track here at Spa. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one to say the least, and see how everybody handles themselves as we go through, especially with this 1.9 update, and free practice is done with, ladies and gentlemen. So this is definitely going to be awesome. Awesome to see how everybody plays out and see what they're able to do. Now we got 25 minutes worth of qualifying here in this race, so that is definitely going to be very interesting and very fun. Hopefully everybody can find a space around the track as they get going. We're just waiting for Katz to finish up his lap, as well as Cooper Simmons to finish up his as well here in this soon-to-be qualifying session as well. For the viewers that are watching, if there is a driver that you'd like to see, please let me know. I will do my best to try to get them in and be a part of it as we're waiting for Katz to finish up his lap. For those that are wondering why I sound like I'm tired, I do have to work after this, so this is definitely going to be fun and interesting to say the least. Here he comes up to the final chicane. Beautiful run onto the front straight. Crosses the line. Believe that is it. He's the only person out there, or is Jashke still fishing? I guess we're waiting on Mr. Jashke, the Apollo champion, as he works his way around. Cav 1066 says hi from Australia. Well, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Truly an honor to have you here. I hope all is well all the way out in Australia. I hope everything is going very well out there for you. About to cross the line, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying is underway, and everybody is rolling out here. Let's take a look right now. We've got Carter Bennett coming out, followed by his father, Casey Bennett, the Aston, the Ferrari. Then we have Christopher Shuffler in that beautiful GTMR neon blue Ferrari. He's gonna have Mr. Farmer right behind him, season 4 champion, right behind him as well, as they work their way down the front straight. As they go through here into the first chicane, everybody's trying to get their tires up. They're trying to get everything all warmed up as they go through. As we see Jaden Munoz, the winner of the Bathurst race of last week, here he comes through downhill, working his way around Spa as well. He's going to be looking to hopefully set a good time. Jared here. He's going to have Hayden and Louis Benara, as I like to call it, Hayden's stepdad. And it is Louis Benara's birthday tomorrow. Oh, there's a little bit of a constraint here on qualifying session. You can see these drivers are trying to set a lap. They're trying to do something here to get the best space that they possibly can. So hopefully they are able to figure it out. Andre Alex Afonso in the 999 Lamborghini next season, I know he's going to be definitely wanting to run something different. He is from Portugal. Let's take a look. We have Wilson Fernandez. He missed out at Bathurst, but our local Brazilian driver, Wilson Fernandez, in the BMW, working his way around the track as he is going to. Oh, looks like there was a little bit of an issue there with drivers. Mr. Nick Golden trying to find their spot around the track. Ricky Scott working his way through as well in that McLaren. So we see everybody come through. Casey Bennett as they're getting onto the front straight. You see Jaden Munoz. He is going to work his way around Casey Bennett, but everybody is on a flyer. Nobody is entitled to their lap as they work their way through. Casey goes super wide. He's going to allow Jaden through. Here comes Shuffler. Shuffler with the back end stepping out as they go through. Let's take a look. Carter is going to be your provisional pole sitter as he works his way up. Eau Rouge, can the Red Bull, the Verstappen fan, hold it through? That is going to be, looks to be an invalidation possibly on his lap. Farmer is up though, 5/10 here onto the back straight with Jaden right behind him in the NSX. For those that are new to ACC, the 1.9 patch came up and the Honda is definitely hurting a little bit. So we'll definitely see how the Honda NSX holds out in Spa. Farmer was sitting at the top of free practice here. So we'll definitely see what he can do with that NSX as well. As he comes through, beautiful looking black NSX. But his rival, the championship leader, Jaden Munoz, up by 4 points behind him in that all-green one. Farmer's going to have to try to get around Carter here for qualifying. Hopefully Carter can let him through and get the... Ooh, Farmer just sends it down into the corner, manages to save it. Farmer looks to be up. He's still up half a second. See, Jaden Munoz is up a whole entire second. So we have half a second and a full second. Jaden Munoz trying to definitely using Farmer as a tow to help him out with this long track here as well. So definitely be interesting where his times are going to be when they come up through the final chicane. Here goes the NSX of Farmer. Question is, will Farmer do what Munoz did? He's going to allow Munoz through. Farmer 8/10 off Aiden. 0.110 off the pace of Munoz, with Louis Benara about a second off of Munoz. Sean New 5.4, trying to fit in that banker as these drivers are going through here. Shuffler invalidated his lap in this all blue Ferrari 488 as he's about to crest the hill here at Spa. Take a look. Jared, he's up half a second and counting. See Wilson Fernandez, he's up 6/10 as he's working his way through. Chestnut 3.7 off provisional pole as we go through. We still have 20 minutes left to go. So we see the BMW driver coming through here. So we see Josh and Jake Johnson both sitting in the pits. As Wilson Fernandez 7/10 off provisional pole of Jaden Munoz with the 2:18.0. James Parks putting in a 5.3 off provisional pole. David Booker, our European British driver in the only Bentley on the grid, sitting there trying to put a lap in through turn 1. He's going to coming up through Eau Rouge. He's going to have what looks to be Bruce Hopkins right behind him. Ooh, a little bit of a bump with that Bentley right behind him. A little squirrely coming out of the top there. Hopefully he can pull something out there with that Bentley. As we see the Porsche of Bruce Hopkins right behind him as well. Nick Golden coming in with an 8.113 in that BMW for P11. Ooh, David Booker losing the back end of it. Now he's going to manages to move out of the way, allow Mr. Bruce Hopkins through. Shuffler up 1.4. Now he's going to set his lap. Andrew Jaschke, 4/10 coming through the back half of the track. He's going to be hauling as much as he can. Kevin Yu, P7, 4.3. Chestnut, 4.4. Hopkins, 5.8. So the times are starting to roll in as everybody's starting to put in time as much as they possibly can here. Here comes Andrew Jaschke as he's about to cross the line, and he does, slots himself P8. 1.8 off the pace. Munoz resets provisional pole to a 217.385. Ada Hasselbrock still 7/10 off of him. Shuffler slot himself up to P3 with 1.1 off the pace. So the times are rolling in and the drivers are definitely getting faster, ladies and gentlemen. As we take a look, Bruce Hopkins, 9/10 coming through. Double right out of the back end of Spa here in this Porsche. Now the Porsche definitely not liking lower wing with Spa and the way the car is set up. So he's probably running about a middle to a high rear wing setup here out of the Porsche as he comes through. He's 1.1 now coming up to this final chicane. 1.3 now as he gets into the braking zone. Hopefully he can hold it through. This would leapfrog him very high up in the standings here. And that's going to put him P12, less than a 10th behind Kevin Yu. As we take a look, Casey Bennett here in the Red Bull Ferrari. He is 9/10 off the pace, coming through the couple of chicanes here before he gets onto the main back straight. Here we go. What can Casey Bennett do? He is one of our regulars that is super fast here. He's up 1.2 on his time. The last time that he set was a 2:19.8. Oh! Ooh, commentator curse. I will take the full blame on that one. Ricky Scott up a 10th. He's 9.5 off the pace. Definitely trying to put in a banker here, but he is trying to work his magic as much as he possibly can with 15.2 left to play. And you see the McLaren driver losing the back end of it. Let's take a look here. LaRock is 3/10 up. He's sitting there P10, 2.7 off the pace here. Farmer bringing his car up to P2, being 6/10 off the pace of the Audi driver. The Honda driver definitely finding a lot more pace of what he can do. So as of right now in the top 10, we have Audi, Honda, McLaren, BMW, Ferrari, BMW, Audi, Aston, Lambo, and Honda is your top 10 running order right now as we speak. Let's take a look in the back in the area. Jared in the other Acura Audi coming through here. He is 6/10 up. As we come through down the hill, let's take a look. He's up 8/10 right now. His provisional lap was a 4:31. So that's really nothing that we can really base it off of. We're going to have to see what he can set when he comes through. And you see Cooper Simmons, and they're running the old Porsche, which is very interesting. As we see Walter Bain 2013 Go Team, which means he must be rooting for the Jaden Munoz and Robles and Jared team as the drivers come through here at Spa. Here through the final chicane, he is up a whole entire second. Can he do as he gets onto the main straight? P8, 1.5 off the pace, right behind his buddy, Mr. Robles in the P7. So it's going to be a double Audi for the 7th and the 8th place drivers. Let's take a look. Sean New up 5/10 in the neon blue GTMR. Aston Martin, here he comes, looking nice and tight. Through the final chicane, 7/10, 8/10, here he goes. Beautiful move up to P16, right behind El Taco, man, in that P15 spot. Double Acids, Alan Zhu leapfrogging, trying to chase down Sean New in that P16 spot. Cooper Simmons, 1.1 seconds up with this Porsche. So if he's able to hold it through with this Porsche, he will be able to catch up to Nick Golden in that P20 spot. Let's take a look. Casey Bennett up 8/10 here. He's been trying to work this Ferrari through, especially with this new DLC pack, as we see Ethan Trinidad being a late joiner in this qualifying session. So we see a yellow, the 188 of Alan Zhu pulling off. Deleted Fox says, let's go, LaRock. LaRock all the way up into P11. He is looking good. 2.4 off provisional pole, but he's been wrangling that Honda in as much as he possibly can to see what he can do. Casey Bennett up 9/10. We've seen that he can do a 219, 219.8 per before. So a 219.8 would slot him in around LaRock's time. But if he's up 9/10 and he's already done previously a 219, that would put him in the 218s. That would put him up in there in the top 5 area here at Spa. For a lot of the people that are watching and you're wondering why the lap time seems so far much slower compared to 1.8, I presumably believe that Kunos is trying to bring the cars more of a realistic lap time to what they do in real life. After doing research on SRO's website for the 2022 results of the 24 hours of Spa, and here he comes. As we see Casey Bennett about to cross the line, he is up a whole entire second. Did it? Oh, he did a 218.9. If he was able to validate that, the 218.9 would have put him all the way up between Louis and Jared, which would have been P7, P8. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that as well. Sean New leapfrogs himself up to P13. The Aston Martin driver up to P13 leapfrogging. So he is finding a lot of pace in that Aston Martin. Brian Katz up 5/10 here in this race. The P21 driver trying to work his way through that 5/10 would leapfrog Jade Russell into that top 20. For those that do not know, GTMR pays out to the top 22 spots here in this series. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that to see how many people we've got. Joshua Piask, David Booker, Jake Johnson, and Ethan Trinidad. Ethan Trinidad coming out in the Honda NSX. So right now, Cooper Simmons, 4/10 up on his time, trying to make some more happen with that Porsche of his. Let's take a look. Brian Katz still 4/10. Nobody's a bigger mover than him right now. Casey Bennett up a 10th, but he still has yet to set a time. We'll leapfrog over to him here shortly. Here comes the McLaren driver / Ford Focus RS driver. Thank you for the follow, ARL Stevenson. Hope all is well with you guys over there in America's Racing League. Truly an honor to have you here joining with us as we jump over to Casey Bennett. As Brian Katz locking into that P21 spot, 7.290. Here comes Casey, 3/10 up, 4/10. He is gaining it as he comes into the final chicane, nice and tight with the Ferrari. Oh, can he hold it through? Showing 6/10. Boom, P10, ladies and gentlemen. Less than a tenth behind Andrew Jaschke as Aiden Hasselbrock brings it into 2/10 right behind Jaden Munoz. So the battle for that is growing. Ricky Scott in the McLaren here on the main top straight as they go through. As Synerge goes, let's go for El Taco, man. Welcome, welcome to the stream. We do have a couple guys racing in this league, Mr. ARL Stevenson. We have your man, Mr. Sean New, as we're going to jump along board with him. He's just chilling there in the GTMR neon blue car, as well as your man, Mr. Christopher Shuffler in the neon blue GTMR Ferrari with Wilson Fernandez behind him and Alan Zhu in front of him. Shuffler definitely coming to pace here with that Ferrari, with the new 1.9 patch update here in this race. So he is definitely growing and picking up the pace as much as he possibly can here. And you see the Porsche of Alan Zhu, our livery creator, is in front of him. Shuffler's going to back out of it. He's going to allow Wilson Fernandez through here, and he does. It moves out of the way. Casey Bennett still up 3/10, trying to find more pace behind them. Now 4/10. Here he comes around the bend. That Ferrari definitely looking super strong, with track limits being a big deciding factor here at GTMR. With 4.6, he's going to call it quits. He's like, yeah, nope, I can't get a lap in. Brian Katz in the Aero McLaren. He's going to cross the line. He's going to leapfrog himself a little bit more. Still P21, but he's getting closer there with his pace. Ethan Trinidad, a driver who still has yet to set a time. For those that do not know, Ethan Trinidad is one of the original drivers of GTMR when we first originally started. He is super fast and quick, but he is a mad fan of the Honda and the Red Bull brand. He's actually running the number 33 car, so him and Carter Bennett, both Max Verstappen fans and Red Bull fanatics, are definitely going to be having a talking to about the numbers that they are using. So we'll definitely see what Ethan Trinidad can set here as a time. So we see Jake Johnson coming out, and the track is getting full with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to play. If there's a driver in the that you would like to see, please let me know in the chat. We'll try to move over to them as soon as possible. Ethan Trinidad really far off the pace, but hey, the only way is up for you to improve here in the series. Let's take a look. Shuffler, the man that Mr. Stevenson was asking about, is up a tenth down into the hairpin here, nice and tight as he goes with that beautiful Ferrari as he comes through the number 44. Here he comes, catching a little bit of the curve, running it super wide out there. Can he improve his time? As Mr. Stevenson says, Shuffy's been helping me out with the setups over on the PlayStation side. Yes, these setups are definitely super crucial. I don't know much about whether and how far they are off on the like PlayStation to Xbox side. I've been told the transfer over from PS5 or the Xbox X Series S to the PC is a little bit more easier due to the software of the next gen consoles per se versus like the PS4 and the older Xbox. So that's definitely going to be a big one, as well as we see Shuffy coming around the bend. He's still up a tenth. He could possibly find more out of the final chicane, but if he could find more out of this final chicane, it would leapfrog him so much more in the starting of this race. He goes through, oh, the back end steps out. He's going to lose it. Ooh. That's a bit of a commentator curse on my side here. But, hey, look, we got Chris Chestnut, Mr. a.k.a. Trash Panda in the league, rocking a Red Bull livery as well. Mr. Armstrong, Triple A. Louis P7 in quali. That's right. Louis Benara, the birthday boy, is in P7. The father of many people in this league. The stepdad to Carter Bennett, the daddy to Aiden Hasselbrock, and the Joker of Jokes. He is sitting there in P7. trying to do what he can with the Valentino Rossi livery BMW. He's definitely looking super strong. He's going to have Farmer in front of him. Farmer trying to do everything he can with that Honda, especially with that big nerf. Mr. LaRock also, he looks like he lost a lot of it out of turn one. The Honda NSX owner is trying everything he can possibly do. Stevenson says, some tweaks with the toe and the camera, but they are almost the same setup. Interesting. I do have a Podium DD1 that is PlayStation compatible, so I could come and run with you guys, but that just means I'd have to buy ACC all over again. So we see LaRock down in there. He's a little bit off on his time as well. Kevin Yu, the Ferrari driver, 4/10 up out of the final chicane. How much more does this help him leapfrog him to get him closer? And it slides him up just a little bit. He's a little off. Casey Bennett, 2/10 out of the back half of the track. He is definitely some of the few bigger movers. Mr. El Taco Man, P18, 5/10 up on his time in that Aston Martin, trying to work his little mojo here in this race and see what he can do as to finish up. I know he drives a lot of Formula One. Good friend of mine, and definitely the Aston Martin's pace. He's definitely probably leaning a little on Phantom to help him out, but I know he's definitely looking super strong here. Definitely in race form. So here he goes around the bend. Ooh, went a little wide. Hopefully that wasn't an invalidation on his part. Alright, we don't have any fast guys up in the front of the grid. Casey Bennett is up 2/10 on his time. Let's take a look. Where is Mr. Bennett? He is on the back straight there. Take a look. Jake Johnson off to the side of the track. El Taco Man, 4/10 up. That's going to reel him in 3/10 from Chestnut. We have a minute left to play. He's going to pull off here. In the background, as we see Joshua Piasky in the Lexus, he's off 1.3, so he's not really gaining any time in this lap, but there is probably a strong chance of him being able to finish really good here in qualifying, depending on what time he sets. He's about to cross the line. He's going to jump up to P17. Everybody right behind Carter Bennett. Wow. 5/1000ths of a second, everybody. 5/1000ths of a second. Let's take a look. Who do we have? Casey Bennett up a second. Casey is just picking up time and time and time. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but man, he is just every lap. It is more and more and more time. He's been struggling with the Ferrari all through qualifying. This whole entire second would put him into the top 5 if he's able to manage to keep it going here with the Red Bull Ferrari. And around the bend, the yellow flag, the timer is going to end, and the drivers that are out will be able to continue their lap. As we see the 117 is returned to the garage. Here comes Casey Bennett, 8/10. Here we go, and it looks like Munoz is going to have pole because it doesn't seem like anybody is even faster than him here. So, but let's see what Casey Bennett can do as he's about to cross the line. 7/10 up on his time. Doesn't gain any more coming out. Slots himself up to P7, knocking out Louis Benara. Let's take a look here. Carter Bennett up 1/10. We've got Chestnut 3/10. And we got Joshua Piasky 4/10. So right now, our biggest mover is Chestnut coming around the bend. Joshua Piasky with 3/10. So right now, our biggest drivers, let's see, Cooper Simmons is not improving. Jake Johnson is not improving. So right now, we've got Joshua Piasky coming up. Yep, he's coming through here as he comes through the back straight. So we'll definitely keep an eye and see what he's able to do and how much further he's able to reel himself into Carter Bennett in that Aston Martin. Here he comes up to the final chicane. Heavy on the brakes and around the bend. 6/10 up. Looks like Chestnut lost a little bit of his lap. As we see Jaden Munoz, he is on a flyer, but he is not improving. He's going to have Chestnut right behind him. Down into the final chicane. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your qualifying is over. It goes Jaden Munoz, number 1, 8.5 Brock 2, Farmer P3, Wilson Fernandez 4, Rolbs 5, Shuffler 6, Bennett 7, Benara 8, Jared 9, Jaschke 10th. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, your top 10 cars. Audi, McLaren, Honda, BMW, Audi, Ferrari, BMW, Audi, Aston Martin. And then it goes Lambo, Honda, Ferrari, Porsche, Lexus, Aston, Ferrari, Aston, Porsche, McLaren. So we're going to do our oh so famous going down the grid for everybody here. And it is going to be an amazing thing. So we're going to jump into drive. We're going to jump into Munoz's car and take a look around his car. We're going to jump out of it real quick and roll around, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to back this bad boy up. And there you have it, your pole sitter, Jaden Munoz in the Audi, as well as Aiden Hasselbrock in the Silk Cut McLaren, Farmer in the NSX, Wilson Fernandez BMW, Rolbs in the Audi, Shuffler bringing in the GTMR, Ferrari as Casey Bennett in the Ferrari, Louis Benara in the BMW of Valentino Rossi. So that's going to be an awesome one. Ooh, here we go. And another Audi as well of Mr. Jared. As we see Andrew Jaschke in the Aston Martin, Alexandre Afonso in the Lamborghini, LaRock in the Animated NSX. Wouldn't it be an NSX without an anime livery? Kevin Yu in that Ferrari, bringing in this very nice pace of P13. Bruce Hopkins, P14. Joshua, PS P15. Sean New manages to bring it into P16. Carter Bennett is in P17. Chestnut P18. As we see El Taco Man P19. Alan Zhu in the orange GTMR Porsche. He's going to be in P20. James Parks, 21. Brian Katz, P22. Jake Russell in P23. Nick Golden coming in at P24. Cooper Simmons, P25 with that Black Rifle Coffee Company multi-camoed Porsche. Ethan Trinidad in the Red Bull Honda. And then we have Ricky Scott in the McLaren, followed by David Booker in the Bentley, as well as Jake Johnson in the extremely all-pink McLaren. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, your starting grid for the Spa-Francorchamps race here at GT Meister Racing. We have 1 minute 39 seconds left to play as we see everybody go through. Now, this is definitely an interesting one. The drivers that we're trying to decide who is going to be the big movers, who are going to be the big prediction followers. It's definitely going to be a tough one, to say the least. You know, I know Carter he's been able to move up slots. El Taco Man has been able to move up the grid as well. Shuffler was looking super strong at Bathurst, so that's definitely going to be an interesting one, to say the least. As we see Jaden Munoz here, his car's getting dropped. He has 1 minute left. Louis Benara is a big mover. LaRock can make something happen. Andre Alex Afonso and that Lamborghini can make something happen there. That blue one in the background as well. Let's take a look as we follow our way down through the race. Ethan Trinidad could be a big mover as well. El Taco Man, like we said before, looking strong. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one, to say the least, with these drivers here on the grid. Who do you think is going to come out strong and victorious in this race, ladies and gentlemen? Let me hear your thoughts in chat. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. The cars are rolling out. We're going to have Jaden Munoz. He's going to be rolling us out in this long formation lap as we get everybody moving. He's been able to get that Audi so locked in with this 1.9 update. It's kind of scary here as we see Wilson Fernandez flashing his lights, trying to get everybody to start picking up the pace and stop slowing us down here. As we go through, let's take a look here. We got Aiden Hasselbrock, Silk Cut McLaren. He was all over the back end of Jaden Munoz at Bathurst, so that's going to be an interesting one. Farmer trying to get his tires warm in the NSX. He's going to do everything that he possibly can. The Brazilian driver of Mr. Wilson Fernandez, his teammate Folty, as well as, I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name, Oliveira. He's not racing with us today. Usually he was racing with us, so that'll be an interesting one. Go through. As we see Louis Benara definitely all over the track here. The birthday man getting probably a little nervous. See Carter Bennett in that white Aston Martin Red Bull livery, the one for the Mr. Max Verstappen. Go through. Let's take a look. We got James Parks, P20. James doing definitely a good job putting himself into that top points position, so he could possibly make things happen here with that McLaren as well. It's the calm before the storm. You know, it's so interesting as a driver. You know what I mean? Because I race GT4s here with GTMR on Tuesday nights. And, you know, it's so interesting because you get this whole build-up for the drivers when they come into for Spa, because the formation lap is so long. You're just sitting there like, okay, all right. Everybody trying to get their brakes nice and warm. For those that are watching that would like us to join us, please check out thesimgrid.com or join us on Discord. We'll be dropping a link here in the chat very shortly for you guys, so you guys can all be a part and be a part with us and join in. Stevenson says, oh, and here we go. We are waiting before the green. Oh, wait, that's right. They got to get around the hairpin. Never knew Sean New was part of ARL until tonight. Yes, he is. Believe he runs the PS4 side of things in ARL. As we see Jaden Munoz coming around here, the final corner before the storm, as we see the drivers work their way around the grid. We are off, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, all the way up to Eau Rouge. Who's going to try to make something happen? Side by side, up Eau Rouge. Here they go. Oh, look at this. There's a little bit of a mix happening towards the back end, but Aiden Hasselbrock gets a run on Jaden Munoz. Jaden's going to have the inside. Aiden's going to have the outside. Farmer getting the big fat toe from the McLaren with the Honda. Oh, Farmer's going to take a look on the inside. Here they go through heavy on the brakes. Oh, Farmer taps the back end of Aiden Hasselbrock. Hasselbrock losing the back end of it. Farmer trying everything he can to do to chase down Munoz here. He's going to have the other Audi of Jaden Munoz's kind of teammate right behind him, Mr. Robles here with Wilson Fernandez chasing him down as well. As we see Casey Bennett moving up to Pete. We'll have to wait for the timing board to refix themselves as the drivers come through here. Here they go, working their way down the hill. Casey Bennett slotting himself up to P8 as they work their way through the downhill piece, as we see Louis Bernard with Jared. Jared managing to get past what looks to be Louis Bernard, Joshua Piask in the Lexus, Andrew Jaschke. Here comes Kevin Yu, and he's going to have Aiden Hasselbrock right around him. Aiden definitely trying to move up as many places as he possibly can with Carter Bennett in the Red Bull Aston working his way through the grid as well, as we see everybody come through around the back half of the grid. As we see Kevin Yu, we're going to slide back up here. Farmer trying to chase down Munoz as best as possible. Robles is going to be possibly holding back the grid here to allow Jaden through. Robles' internet connection losing it just a little bit. Here comes Wilson Fernandez. He's going to try to possibly look to make the move on the inside. Christopher Shuffler, the ARL man here. Christopher Shuffler sending it on the inside of Wilson Fernandez. He's going to make it stick here as Christopher Shuffler looking super racy here in the back half of this grid. And we see Casey Bennett trying to make something stick as well. Wilson Fernandez dives down deep. Shuffler, now the two Ferraris are attacking the BMW as they come through. Here comes Aiden. Aiden in between Andrew Jaschke. We're going to see a three-wide battle coming up to Eau Rouge. Aiden definitely getting the push bump on Andrew Jaschke as they work their way up Eau Rouge. Aiden checking out of it, trying to get a run. Joshua Piask in the Lexus, trying to help out as much as they can. The battles are growing here in this race as Joshua now looking at Aiden Hasselbrock. Going to go on the outside. Aiden now cuts over. Joshua now having to catch the brakes here down into the couple corners here as Aiden, the P2 driver, has the fault. Ooh, Shuffler losing it a little bit down into that chicane there. Question is did he lose it on the tires? And heavily on the brakes here as we see Aiden Hasselbrock covering over the back end half of this. As we see the look, Robles now separated himself. And we've got Wilson Fernandez looking super separated here with Casey Bennett trying to chase him down as well. With Aiden Hasselbrock trying to reel in and pick up the pace. He knows he has the pace to take the fight to Farmer as they come through. As Aiden down heavily on the brakes, trying to reel in as much as he can. Kevin Yu on Joshua in the background. You can see the Aston Martin getting a beautiful run out of the corners, trying to chase down Kevin Yu. As we see El Taco Man with Jade Rustler right there with Ricky Scott. Ricky Scott sliding himself up, and there's Jake Johnson. Jake Johnson sending it down on the inside to Ricky Scott here as they come through this bend. Ooh, side by side, here they go onto the back straight. Jake Johnson trying to get super risky with Ricky Scott here in this race. It looks like Andre Alex Afonso is off the track. As we go through here, let's take a look. Farmer and Jaden, he can still see him from the distance as this race develops. Santiago Rolls definitely getting a little bit of a breather, but Casey Bennett now still trying to reel in Wilson Fernandez. As we see Jared Ado looking at as much as he possibly can to make something happen. Aiden Hasselbrock on the back end of Andrew Jaschke. Louis Benara all the way in the back. They're definitely off his pace here at Spa. trying to everything he possibly can to work his way up the hill. Let's take a look at this. Christopher Shuffler probably lost it in that chicane. It does not look like there's a whole lot of damage on that Ferrari. He just has to regroup, head down, and focus and push through as much as he possibly can here in this race. As we go through, let's take a look at some of the other closest battle. Jade Russell, El Taco Man, Jake Johnson, and Ricky Scott down into this chicane here on the back straight here, Kemmel straight. Here we go, Jake Johnson holding off Ricky Scott pretty strong. Ricky Scott trying to make it happen here in the back part of the grid. This is P19 all the way up to 16 with this battle here as they hook around this hairpin, working their way down the hill. Ricky Scott, let's jump on the front onboard here. See that Lexus with Kevin Yu right behind Shuffler. Ferrari attack here. And you can see Shuffler's working his way through the grid the best that he possibly can. He's got Kevin Yu right on the back end of him. You can see him in that background of that view. As they come through, we're going to jump back aboard up in front here. As now Aiden Hasselbrock is past Andrew Jaschke. He is on a rampage run, the McLaren driver. We're going to take a quick second to look when they come through this turn one. We're going to ride along board Aiden on his cockpit view. Give me a little, like, 2-second breather so I don't lose my voice as they come through. He is flying down with this McLaren, trying to chase this Audi as fast as he can to move back up the grid. So, and Adu just has Aiden Hasselbrock all over the back. Aiden just sends it. Ooh, he must have locked up the brakes and then definitely made a mistake on where to brake there in that corner there as we take a look at everything here. Louis Benara falling far behind here in this grid, definitely trying to do what he can. So we see Ricky Scott, he's going to have what looks to be James Parks in front of him. So we see El Taco Man with Ethan Trinidad. Trinidad on the back end of Ethan Trinidad on the back end of El Taco Man here in this battle for this P20 spot as the drivers work their way through. The number 12 car, which happens to be Louis Benara, is off the track on this downhill left. Does he have a lot of damage? That is going to be the big question on Louis Benara's car. Nope, he is pulled over. So we see LaRock on Carter Bennett. Honda Aston, two vehicles. The Honda should be rocking that Red Bull livery, but it's not. Oh, LaRock, you can see the front end get washed out there in the corner. As LaRock catches the brakes super late as he tries to recover as much as he can against Carter Bennett here for this P12 spot. LaRock still on the back end of that Aston Martin as we see Aiden Hasselbrock now trying to see what he can possibly do on Jared. Catches the brake super late, tries to reel in the all green Audi, the silk cut McLaren for this P6 spot. The McLaren gets a beautiful run. Can he outbrake him into the hairpin? Oh, Aiden Hasselbrock sends it in deep, and he makes it work. It's right past the Aston Martin. The McLaren driver knows he's fast. He knows he can make something stick. The pit window is open with 50 minutes left to play. For those that do not know, it is a 40-minute pit window here on this race, at this race. So these drivers can do the optional undercut long, super long strategy if they wanted to. As we see Joshua Piask and we'll see Christopher Shuffler, two drivers. Both came from ARL. Joshua Piask, a local normal PlayStation driver, switched over to PC. Oh, it's super wide. The Lexus guy is looking super strong here with the Wonder Bread, the Ricky Bobby painted scheme. He comes through. Let's take a look. LaRock will still be on the back end. Ooh, LaRock, did he get Carter Bennett, though? And it looks like he did. Looks like Carter may have made a mistake here. LaRock is ahead of him. Andrew Jaschke now on, getting close to the back end of Adeo, as we see Louis Bonara still off the track. Curious on what's going to happen there with him. Go through here. We're going to skip around here and take a look, see where some of the closest battles are for everybody here as well. Let's see, Joshua Piask, he's going to try to get a run. He's got Kevin Yu on behind him, so he's got Ferrari, Lexus, Ferrari. Let's take a look. Also, we have Jade Russell on the back end of Cooper Simmons. Jade Russell going to try to get the run down the back straight here. Cooper Simmons checking up right behind Jade Russell, trying to make it stick. The McDonald's car versus the Black Rifle car, heavy on the brakes. The Porsche driver of Cooper Simmons, definitely, he is a controller driver because his wheel had a few issues, so he's been trying to reel in this Porsche the best he can, and he is just looking super smooth with that Porsche. As the number 84 car of, I believe that is Ricky Scott, it looks to be spun around. He's trying to recover as much as he can. He's definitely getting used to the 1.9 setup, as Brian Katz is going to try to do the massive undercut by diving into the pits at P23. There goes the back end as Ricky Scott loses it with the McLaren, as he is definitely trying to figure something out with the setup here as well. So let's take a look. Cooper Simmons still on the back end of Jade Russell. This is probably the closest battle we have on track right now between the Porsche and the Audi. We see Cooper Simmons lose a little bit of it with that beautiful multi-camo paint scheme. With the world's largest rear wing, as I like to call it, for the Porsche. See Louis Bonara still sitting out on track. That's definitely going to be an interesting one. As we see Ethan Trinidad lost the back end. So definitely this track is interesting because we're at 34 degrees Celsius. The race started at noon on Sunday, so the temperatures are only amplifying themselves. It's definitely going to be a hot one. And with the way that the 1.9 setup is, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how everybody's tires fare here in this race as we skip down the order here, as Mr. Aiden Hasselbrock is working his way through the grid. He's up to P6 from P2, and he's fallen behind Farmer sitting there P2. Let's see, El Taco Man. We're going to jump down there with El Taco Man and David Booker as El Taco Man with a lot of front end damage here in that Aston Martin. He's going to have Andre Alex Afonso right behind him. Oh, here we go. El Taco Man is going to possibly take a look on the inside of David Booker here. Heavy on the brakes. Does he make it stick? Booker covers. Oh, El Taco Man's going to close the door. Here comes Andre Alex Afonso. Andre Alex Afonso taking a look on the inside of the Bentley driver. Here goes heavy on the brakes. The Lambo driver is going to make that stick here as he works his way up the hill. Andre Alex Afonso, P25. Just trying to make up laps here to get points. Ooh, the front end of that Aston Martin is not looking good. I would probably pit. If I could tell him, I'd be like, bro, just pit, fix it, and then see what you can do here as he gets through here. Andre Alex Afonso with the fully really good Lamborghini, clean, perfect. Let him through. Just keep pushing as much as you possibly can. Is the best bet that I could probably give El Taco Man here. Aiden dives into the pits. He's one of the first front runners to dive into the pits. So that's definitely going to be an interesting one. Different. That undercut's going to be super crazy there if Aiden can pull that off as he is in the pits. And with the way that the pit track is, it is super long. You see Andre Alex Afonso taking a look on the inside. Even though this is not a battle for position for El Taco Man, this is purely just racing on the track. Shuffler dives into the pits. So definitely seeing a lot of early strategies coming into play here at Spa for these GT3 drivers. Down into turn one, they're working their way through. So let's take a look at the order of the team drivers here. We have Jaden Munoz P1, Tyler Farmer P2, Rolls P3 in the Audi. So it goes Audi, Honda, Audi for your top three. Wilson Fernandez on the outside looking in the BMW. Wilson Fernandez, super fast, a very clean driver. He can move his way up the grid. Depending on how the pit rotations, as long as he keeps the cycle and the cars within his grasp here, as Casey Bennett here, the P5 Ferrari driver, managing to keep a nice separation from Jared in that P6 area. With Andrew Jaschke on the outside, catching a few dirt there with that Aston Martin in that P7. Joshua Piask, P8, an area that he's not used to being in. Granted, Shuffler, Alan Zoo dives into the pits as well. Even though Aiden Hasselbrock, Shuffler, both pitted. The Lexus driver looking super strong, in the order here, with Kevin Yu in the P9 spot as well. So Kevin Yu definitely looking super strong as well. LaRock, the other Honda driver, even though the Hondas were nerfed here, Spa does have a way of showcasing love and gifts for other vehicles, and he's managed to bring himself into that P10 spot here as well. So definitely interesting to see how much more he is able to keep that going here in this race at Spa with trying to reel in that Ferrari. He must be running a super low wing with that Honda as well. As we take a look all the way down, we got Carter Bennett in the Aston Martin, Jade Russell with the Audi, Cooper Simmons, P13 in the old school Porsche, James Parks, P14. He's got El Taco Man. There's David Booker in the Bentley. Looks like there's a little bit of a brake issue there. Let's reel that back about 30 seconds ago and see where this battle came through. You can see El Taco Man coming down the back end. There's David Booker. Does David Booker practically outbrake himself to El Taco Man? Let's see where we go through. He's going to get a beautiful run. He knows he has the straight line speed compared to the Aston. Oh, he just outbrakes himself. You can just clearly see it. Locks. Oh, it just overshoots the car. What a shame there for David Booker. That would have been a good thing. Dweebs, Mr. Matt Damon himself, not the actor Matt Damon, but the ARL Matt Damon, is in the chat. Good shit, Josh in the Lexus. That's right. Josh in the Lexus moving up grids and definitely showcasing as we see Nick Golden, the P24 driver, diving into the pits here. So a lot of drivers opting for the early strat. Curious on what drivers are going to opt for the late strat here in this race. So we see Alan Zhu. He's all the way down in there in the P22 spot with David Booker and the cycling moving forward. So Alan Zhu, he's going to allow them through as well. Andre Alex Afonso, he's up 5/10 on his lap, trying to make something happen here in that P20 spot. But with the pit rotations and everything going on, it is just not helpful there. As Christopher Shuffler is still into the pits. Curious if he had a lot of damage or he's just calling it a race here. If he is, what a shame, man. He is definitely looking super strong here in this race. As we're going to jump back down the board. Here's Mr. LaRock here in the Honda. He works up to Kevin Yu here. 410s back, the Honda owner, trying to pull out all the stops here in this race with 38 minutes left to go. He is trying to move up as much as he can for the P10 to 9 spot here onto the back straight. Ooh, look at that beautiful run up the hill as he approaches him. A little bit of a lift out of LaRock's car, but here's the back end view of Kevin Yu where he can see that Honda NSX just hunting him down. Oh, look at the reel in that the NSX has with the braking compared to the Ferrari. The Ferrari does have decent braking, but due to the fact of all the different aero aspects of the Ferrari, it is not helping with Joshua. Now Joshua's going to be under attack of the Ferrari driver. So now the P8 spot of Joshua, Kevin, and Alex is all going to be in battle here very shortly as they work their way down the hill. As we see the 117 is off the track. He's going to possibly look at, hopefully he doesn't try to pull out, and Nick Golden tries to pull out in front of everybody. He does. He's got a lot of damage. He's going to stay on the inside. He's going to allow everybody through. Good job there, Mr. Golden. As we see here, ooh, this battle for P8 is definitely growing. I apologize, everybody. Hasselbrock all by himself. Undercut should pay off nicely. It should pay off nicely. What does the back end of the Lexus look like? It looks like Ferrari and Honda want him. Here they go through or down the back area of the Spa race here. Josh looking super strong. Very light on the curbing. Try not to overkill it. You can definitely see the pace out of the Lexus and the Ferrari over the Honda here. Coming through the final chicane. Ooh, catches a little bit of the curb, but thankfully the Ferrari did it too. So that's going to give Josh a little bit of breathing space because Kevin Yu has to try to hold off the Honda as well. Ooh, Josh goes super wide. Oh, here comes the drag race. Oh, up to Eau Rouge. Josh is going to cover over LaRock. LaRock's going to have to make a choice. Josh can get the reel in on the Ferrari as they work their way up the hill. Oh, the understeer out of that Lexus was psychotic as he was working his way through. As they approach the final chicane, you're going to see Kevin Yu on the back end of him. Ooh, Josh goes super wide. Kevin Yu loses it. Josh is going to have to concede it. Oh, the pressure there in that battle is the 513 car. Ooh, looks like there's an issue with the 513 car, possibly for the pit entry of James Parks. We're going to jump back real quick. Nope, he's okay. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It's LaRock and Kevin Yu. Still, the battle keeps continuing. El Taco Man is, where is El Taco Man? Oh, he is onto the back straight coming up to the final chicane. He still has all that damage. He's going for possibly the long shot with 35 minutes. Deleted Fox is still in the chat. Ooh, Booker. Booker loses the back end. As Wilson Fernandez, the driver we told you not to look out for, to not give up on, the Brazilian driver in the BMW, he is chasing him down all Misano race. I kept saying that he was in the Mercedes. I know they're completely two different manufacturers, but for 2 seasons, all he raced was the Aston Martin. So my initial thought was he was in an Aston Martin. As we see the BMW driver of Wilson Fernandez chasing him down, and we see Farmer. It looks like Farmer has fallen greatly to Jaden Munoz, 10 seconds around that time. Well, can Wilson Fernandez and that BMW get the reel on the Audi? He is definitely pushing it as much as possible. Here they go down as Aiden Hasselbrook up to P17 after that pit rotation, 7 seconds off of James Parks. So this is gonna be a tough one here, especially with how how the tires are in 1.9, how the sidewall actually plays into a huge factor. Everybody trying to work their way up through as Wilson Fernandez now closes the gap dramatically to Rolls. That is a very big rear view mirror. That's one of those like JDM rear view mirrors. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that you always see the Honda guys own. Yep. The only reason why I know that's because I used to own a Honda. Can't judge me. As the BMW driver of Wilson Fernandez, 410s back, he wants Romes. He wants that P3 spot. He wants to get that jump cycle because of the pit length at Spa is super long. For those that do not know, it's not like Formula One where you can just dive in, little straight, dive out. Spa, it's almost 2 different pit lengths. You get all of F1 plus the other side that usually in the F1 games you're not allowed to use. And here you get all of it. So right now Wilson Fernandez trying to work what he can with Sean New in front of him. Jaden Munoz dives into the pits. Ooh, this is definitely going to be an interesting one. It looks like New is going to dive into the pits as well. That's going to allow Wilson Fernandez and Robes to continue their battle. So we see Casey Bennett still on the outside looking in. Farmer still up there. Farmer's going to leapfrog Munoz. Now, this could play into Farmer's hand. Even though Farmer is about 10 seconds off the pace when Munoz dove into the pits, but because Munoz is going super slow, it kind of plays when Farmer has to dive into the pits as well. But Farmer, could make it happen because what happens is when Munoz comes back out of the pits, if he's in traffic, he's going to have a lot of people he's going to have to fight to work their way through. Just because you were P1 before you pitted does not mean you're P1 after you've pitted. So that's definitely going to be a tough one, for a lot of these drivers. As Sean New is trying to figure out where he needs to go to allow Wilson Fernandez through. As we see Rolbs in the pits, Adeo into the pits, the triple team is into the pits as well. All 3 drivers running the same livery, which there's nothing against it at GTMR. If you want to have you and a buddy and run it as a team thing, that's perfectly fine. I actually like it. It gives it more of a realistic feel for the drivers here in this series. As we see Jade Russell in the pits, Kevin Yu in the pits, Taco Man finally diving in the pits. Ricky Scott is going to be on the back end of Sean New. Should be allowing the BMW driver of Wilson Fernandez through. Let's take a look. Ricky Scott, did he get past Booker is into the pit. So, all right, so now we got a lot of these drivers into the pit. So here we have your provisional leader of the race, Mr. Farber, with 30 minutes left, 20 of it being the pit window. The track is just getting warm. 35 degrees Celsius. The temperature is just roasting for these guys here with the Honda. Definitely, ooh, the back end of the NSX stepping out there in this race. You can definitely see the attrition part of it for the sim racer to handle. For those that do not know, if you don't have a sim rig, some of these wheels generate enough torque and enough power to where it's, it's very real. Like, ooh, Kevin Yu with a 30-second stop go. LaRock on the back end of Josh. Both drivers still need to pit. He is chasing him down. Munoz coming out. He's in P8. So Wilson Fernandez dives into the pits. But yeah, no, some of these rigs that a lot of these drivers use produce a lot of amount of force. Ooh, LaRock dives to the pit, so that's going to give Joshua a bit of breathing space here in this race. As we take a look, where's Ricky Scott? He's going to have what looks to be Robes in front of him. Robes already pitted. Ricky Scott going for the super long strat. As we see, Jade Russell gets a 30-second stop go. So both those drivers kind of blindsided and kind of, kicked in the butt with the damage there in this race. But yeah, no. So like the TX, I believe, gets about 6 Newton meters of force. I don't know what that is in foot-pounds. I know that the new Logitech DD goes all the way up to, I believe, 12, 13 Newton meters. The CSL DD goes all the way up to 8. Is it 8 with the battery thing? Or is it 10? I know my DD1 goes all the way up to 20 Newton meters. So, ooh, as we see Ricky Scott dive into the pits, thought he'd be one of those drivers that were going for the super late program. But it does not look like he is going for the super late program. Let's take a look here. Alan Zhu all the way in that P20 spot, trying to recover as much as he possibly can. In the points, here comes Wilson Fernandez. Ooh. That's got to be a little bit risky when you're flying down the back straight and you're just see a guy coming out of the pit rotation area. As we see Wilson Fernandez leapfrogged a few drivers, I believe. Let's take a look. Wilson Fernandez, Jaden Munoz, Robes. Robes is right behind Wilson Fernandez. So Wilson Fernandez was able to leapfrog Robes in that pit rotation. So super good on Wilson Fernandez for pulling that one off, as Jaden Munoz is trying everything he can to keep the separation gap for these drivers as Farmer dives into the pits. So he's going to be in there. So let's take a look. Where's Farmer? Farmer is coming up to the hairpin. As I said, this long drive. Now they got to go around the hairpin. Ooh, Farmer catches a little bit. He bumps into the wall. Kevin Yu coming down. Kevin Yu's going to have a 30-second go stop. Jade Russell in the pits for that as well. Casey Bennett, he is flying P2 driver. He's out there in the front. Let's take a look. Andre Alex Afonso. He's caught up to El Taco Man. He's going to need to pit as well, but he's probably going to do the last pit stop. So we see Casey Bennett losing a little bit of the back end there. Andrew Jaschke in the long haul. So maybe, depending on where you're at on track, the overcut may be stronger than the undercut. I want to hear your guys' opinion here in this race. Because it's definitely going to be an interesting one. To say the least, James Park's in the pit, so a lot of these front runners are diving into the pits as well. Carter Bennett is in. So Casey's going the long. Andrew Jaschke's going the long. And Joshua Piask is going the long. Farmer and Carter Bennett both in the pits. Let's take a look. Mr. Farmer coming down. Jaden Munoz already leapfrogged him. Let's take a look. Where is Wilson Fernandez? Ooh, this is going to be close. Wilson Fernandez coming up to Eau Rouge. Farmer just getting onto the back straight. His tires are going to be a little bit colder there. So Wilson Fernandez gets a nice run onto the back straight. So this can... Ooh, Farmer's going to need to pick up the pace against Wilson Fernandez here. Because right now, Wilson Fernandez wants a piece of that Honda NSX. as Wilson Fernandez is only 2.2 off the pace. Will Farmer be able to punch it and pull away as much as possible here in this race? Let's take a look. Joshua Piast still needs to pit. We got 15 minutes left of the pit window, 25 of the race. The track is not cooling off anytime soon. Jade Russell still needs... Did he get another 30 stack of stop go, or did he not serve that? Interesting. Oh, rip, we lost Hasselbrock. It looks like we did. Well, let me take a look. Yeah, we did lose Hasselbrock. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. As we see Joshua Piasca in the pits. As we see, where's Andrew Jaschke? He's still on the back straight with Mr. Casey Bennett. As Casey Bennett now is catching up Carter Bennett, his son. So you're definitely going to be hearing the Ferrari Multi-21, or AKA the Red Bull Sebastian Vettel order, saying, "Hey son, I need you to move." Those rules do apply to father to son right now, and you definitely know it's going to be in full effect as Casey Bennett catches his son here, coming up to this downhill left-hander. So for those that are in the chat, I'd like to know what would be the strategy that you would have gone with this race? Would you have gone for a late strategy, pushing the pit window envelope super late in hopes that other people have a lot of issues, or would you want to have pitted early in hopes of just getting it done and then just running the last like 45 minutes on, you know, on a one tire shot? Matt Davis says, won't see the Giga undercut. Is it both tires and fuel? No, it is just tires. Fuel is optional. It's just optimal here at GTMR, so you don't have to. But the tires is mandatory, so you do have to change tires. Ooh, we see Casey in the pits. Now the question is, Jaschke coming down the back end of the track. Is Dominant Squares in the chat? Hello, Dominant Square. Totally miss you. Wish you were racing with us. And Andrew Jaschke dives into the pits. So there you have it. Everybody that needed to pit is in the pits here for this race. So now Jaden Munoz coming through will be able to take over the pit here rotation as well, as Wilson Fernandez is brought it down to about 1.4 seconds of a split to Mr. Farmer here in the NSX. Wilson Fernandez in that BMW trying to do what he possibly can do in hopes to finish into that top, a little bit higher in that the top three, that P2 spot. He's been definitely looking from the outside in. I know Farmer definitely does not want to lose as many points as he possibly can to Jaden Munoz. Let's see, Dominant Square in here supporting the Humdrum Boys. The Humdrum Boys? Interesting. Don't know what the Humdrums is, as it looks like James Parks trying to get out of the way for these guys as much as possible. James not holding up Mr. Fernandez as much as everybody would think. We take a look. Mr. Tweeb says, depends on the traffic, but I'd probably do a 40-minute pit or so. So that's definitely an interesting one, I would say, for this, with how everything was spread out. You know, it's kind of one of those where you kind of have to roll the dice and see where everybody else would sit. I think it would be really cool if you were able to, in-game, turn on and off where the pit window rotation was, like not the pit window, the pit length. I think that would be really, really cool to definitely have, as we will keep an eye on this battle between Wilson Fernandez and Farmer, because we do know the NSX has a tendency of chewing up its tires, and with Fernandez pushing as hard as he is, it is definitely not helping Casey Bennett. The pit rotation definitely helped against Andrew Jaschke. Um, but looks like Joshua Piaz losing out, and it's going to be Carter Bennett up into P9, LaRock P8. Kevin Yu, due to the 30-second stop go, drops him all the way down to P17. Oh, what a shame there for him. I know he's busy trying to recover as much as he can. But thankfully, we pay out for the top 22 spots, ladies and gentlemen. Top 22. So all drivers in the top 22 will get paid out. El Taco Man out there in P12 with Ricky Scott P13. El Taco Man trying to bring home a lot of strong points here in this race. What a shame for a lot of these drivers as we take a look. We got Nick Golden here racing up all the way down in the P23. We've lost a few drivers. Shuffler is he's out. We got Chester out, Louis Bernard out, and Bruce Hopkins out. We had 29 drivers at the start. We're down to 23. It is the nature of spot, especially with the new DLC. We're going to jump up. Jake Johnson. Where are you, Jake? Where are you hiding, Jake? There you are. Jake Johnson on to the Bentley here as this battle develops between the McLaren and the Bentley. They approach Eau Rouge with 18 minutes left to play. The McLaren driver taking a look on the outside in, trying to get a beautiful run on the Bentley, but the Bentley is just, it's got such a weird stance when you're on the track because you're trying to line it up there and it just works so well. Ooh, Jake is going to try to take a look on the inside coming down here, but he's going to have to check out of it. It's going to set him up to possibly get a run on Booker, but Booker's going to cover. He's going to have enough space to cover the inside of Jake Johnson. And that's going to allow, as Farmer, the P2 driver, is going to be catching these two guys. And that's not going to help out Farmer as well, because guess who's behind Farmer? Wilson Fernandez. And Wilson Fernandez needs these two to hold back Farmer as much as possible in this battle. Johnson's going to allow Farmer through. Now here comes Booker. Farmer is probably going to send it on the Bentley driver. As we see Nick Golden here in front. Farmer on the super late. Oh, that was the pass of the century, ladies and gentlemen. The brake lockup. I am wholeheartedly giving that. We are going to rewatch that pass. We're going to take a look at this here. We're going to see it from his point of view in the cockpit, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about glorious. Oh, here we go. The camera hated us for a second. Talk about glorious as Farmer makes his way past Brian Katz, as now Wilson Fernandez. Katz is going to allow them through due to the positioning with blue flags. And the battle still insinuates between Jake Johnson. Jake Johnson was able to capitalize due to everything. And that pass was, wow. It was just... Am I right, Tweebs? It was just, that was ballsy. I gotta give it to him. He saw it. He was like, I'm going for the gap. Wow, that was amazing here. Let's just jump back again with this battle between Jake Johnson and David Booker. As we see Robes here trying to work his way. The Humdrum boys trying to work their way down the hill as we see David Booker. He's pretty far away from Jake Johnson, so hopefully Jared can get Jake Johnson to slow down a little bit so he can catch up to him to allow this battle to grow and build up. Mr. Tweaks, we need you racing with us. I remember seeing you sign up. And if you want to keep racing with us, let me know. I can get you back in. Get you back in racing with us. The C's part for him. Oh yeah, the C's it was like the one time. I think it was like Jesus was like, all right, I'll help you out one time. One time. You don't want $1 million, but I can help you out here. I'll give you the space. Shuffy in the chat. Welcome, Mr. Shuffy. We could have seen you in the comms booth. You would have been awesome to join in. But I understand the frustration if you didn't want to join in. But we also have this battle insinuating between Farmer and Wilson Fernandez. And it is not helping Farmer right now because Wilson Fernandez is in the hunt. 1.6 back. This is the closest battle we have on track, ladies and gentlemen. And it is just getting even tighter with 13 minutes left to play. Shuffy. Hi, folks. 36 degrees Celsius. It's almost 1 p.m. in game. So it is definitely getting warmer in the game as well as in the server room. As it's growing. As I say that, the cat opens up the door and the cold air comes in. So we take a look now. 1.4. Now, could Farmer's tires be dropping based on some of those moves? For sure, I do plan on registering again next season. I signed out of this one, unfortunately, since I didn't plan on keeping up with the 488. It's fully understandable. Next season, we will be allowing the newer cars to race for the season, but sadly, it just wouldn't have been fair to the other drivers to allow the newer cars to race, because then if you have drivers that are like, well, I don't really want to race them, then the newer cars would have just dominated the field, and it just wouldn't have been respectful for those guys. But hey, as long as we hope to see you next season. That's all we hope. As we take a look, Wilson Fernandez falls down a little bit to 2 seconds, but there's Farmer there. Question is it getting better or worse for Farmer here in this race? Munoz separating this gap to 14.7. We see Shuffy racing saying, let's go, Casey. As Casey Bennett up into P6, a driver who is having a little bit of issues with the Ferrari, managing to do actually pretty well with the car. He's going to have a few blue flags in front of him, but hopefully the blue flags can help him out. In the new Lambo. Oh, Jesus, the new Lambo, ladies and gentlemen. That's definitely going to be a fun one. A fun, interesting one, to say the least. I like the new Lambo. It feels really good. It turns very nice. Drives very nice. The only issue is the fact of the not enough aero on the car to give it a lot more pace. Is my only issue on it. So let's take a look down the order of the drivers here in this race. Your leader, Jaden Munoz, going past Cooper Simmons in the old Porsche, working his magic here on the back end of the track. We have 10 minutes and 42 seconds left to play. It's looking super strong. Your P2 driver, Mr. Farmer in the black NSX, the man who was worried about his pace overall in this race, is looking strong here at Spa. But there are a few things in question, and that is the contact that he had with Aiden Hasselbrock at the start of the race into the first chicane. He tapped the back end of it, and the question now is how much of that was a huge factor as they go super wide. Ricky Scott and Farmer. Farmer trying to avoid Wilson Fernandez. Wilson Fernandez, I think, is going to be sending it super deep, and he does to catch Farmer here in this race. As we were waiting for things to develop, this is going to be interesting to say the least, because now it is within a second, and the BMW is hunting down that Honda NSX. Yeah, so far I did Zolder and Kailami with it, so I didn't run it in those issues yet, but it was, hey man, I tried it on Mount Panorama, and it was phenomenal on Mount Panorama, as we see Wilson Fernandez looking super strong up this hill. You know, it's interesting. It's like the NSX still has legs to pull away here, but seems like it's losing a little bit everywhere else. As Fernandez now within a second. This is a battle for P2. The BMW, the Brazilian driver against the Canadian driver. Who can hold out? Who can push the most? 8 minutes and 52 left to play. Look at the debris on the side of those cars, ladies and gentlemen. It is just picking up like crazy. And the track is getting even warmer, which is very odd, because usually it's the hottest, and around 1 p.m. it may be dropping off, but it seems like it's not going to in this race. So far we have Audi, Honda, BMW, Audi, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Honda, Aston, Porsche, McLaren, Bentley, Ferrari, McLaren, Porsche, McLaren, Aston Martin, Audi, and Lamborghini, all in your top 22 here in this race. Let's go, my Canadian brother, says Tweeps in the chat. Seems like Farmer was able to pull a little bit of a gap from Wilson Fernandez up to a 1.3 with 7 left to play, but it looks like Wilson Fernandez is not giving up on him, because things are starting to develop even more. As the 999 of Andre Afonso sitting there in the pits, he's going to be calling it a day, it looks. Huge shout out to Cooper Simmons, managing to stick through all the hardship of this race in the old school BMW the old school Porsche with a controller up in there in P11. So that's definitely interesting. Ooh, Kevin Yu on the back end of David Booker. We're going to take a look real quick and see where they're at. Ooh, they are onto the front straight, a lot closer than Wilson Fernandez is to Farmer. We will jump over there when it gets closer, but right now this is a closer battle between the British driver and Kevin Yu. Ooh, looks like, ooh, did he lose the back end a little bit? Did David Booker lose the back end? Let's take a look. Ooh, yep, there you go. The back end did step out there. What a shame there for him. With 5 minutes left to go, everybody. 5 minutes in this race. Here's your leader, Jaden Munoz, followed by Farmer P2, Wilson Fernandez P3, and you're going to see Cooper Simmons in front of Farmer. Wilson Fernandez now under a second, coming up to the final chicane. Sean New gets a drive-through. heavy on the brakes here. Wilson Fernandez, Farmer, Cooper Simmons. Farmer's going to try to, Cooper Simmons is like, yeah, I'm going to stay out of your way. Nice job, Cooper Simmons, giving them an adequate amount of space, but not enough to get into the way here. Can Wilson Fernandez reel in that Honda? I think the Honda needs a bigger nerve. I think it does. I'm just kidding, Farmer. I know you can't hear me. You'll hear it when you rewatch the stream. But Wilson Fernandez, 7/10 back. He is trying everything he possibly can to catch up to this NSX down into the chicane here. Ooh, looking super planted here. The NSX squirrely. You definitely see the twitchiness out of Farmer's inputs here in this race. See that BMW in the background as he's chasing him down. Which is, there's one more car in front of them that is a back marker, and that is El Taco Man. And El Taco Man, this is going to be an interesting one because as this race develops, El Taco Man could be the deciding factor as everything grows through. Because right now, Fernandez is still within less than a second of 7/10 to be exact as they come through onto the main back straight. Because right now, Farmer has been able to use the back markers as a way of holding back Fernandez here in this race. How much more can he use to save this? Ooh, as we go through, Taco Man moves out of the way. Nice job. Oh, Wilson Fernandez catches the curb. The back end steps out. Oh, Farmer. The pressure is on with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to play. That means they're going to have 2 laps to go here in this race. Last lap, 2:19.3 for Farmer, 2:19.5 for Wilson Fernandez. 8 thousandths of a second is Wilson Fernandez's fastest lap to Mr. Farmer here as they work their way up the hill. Ooh, Fernandez cannot get that BMW to reel in the NSX. Farmer is trying everything he possibly can to separate himself. Ooh, heavy on the brakes. Here they go through. Did Farmer burn up his tires? That's the big question. With the 1.9 patch, I mean, you got a bigger operating window, but if you still push your tires, I mean, the dag on it can be extreme here in this race. Watch. Ooh, looks like a little bit of a squirreliness out of the NSX. Wilson Fernandez is trying to capitalize. Ooh, Farmer. Oh, this is going to be spicy. 1 minute left to play. That's right. And once they cross the line, they're going to have one more race, one more lap to go. Not one more race, one more lap. See what can the NSX driver of Farmer do to hold off Wilson Fernandez. Farmer going super wide. Wilson Fernandez reeling him in heavy on the brakes. How much closer does Wilson Fernandez catches up to him? Doesn't catch any of the bumps. Ooh, gets a beautiful run. Manages to bring it back in. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. 1 lap to go. Or 2. No, it's going to be 1 lap because it's going to finish under this next lap. Okay. Ooh, the NSX getting a better run out of the hole, but the BMW's been able to capitalize here. Wilson Fernandez has lost 6/10, but the question is, can Farmer hold it together here? Up Eau Rouge. Oh, the BMW running it super wide, but gets a beautiful run. Can he get the toe from the NSX? Here they go. Ooh, look at the bumper with the BMW on the back end of Farmer. Farmer taking a look. Here comes Wilson Fernandez. He's going to try something. Will he make it stick? Down into the hairpin. Farmer covering over the inside. Wilson Fernandez on the back end of it as they switch around and slide. Here they come up into the downhill section of Spa. Both drivers utilizing all the track that is possible. Farmer managing to pull it out to 2.7 seconds here on Wilson Fernandez. Down on the downhill section. The NSX still, even nerved, still has the potential to separate himself from the BMW driver. Heavy on the brakes and around the bend. You can definitely see where the NSX starts to wash itself out and where the BMW kind of can capitalize here. The BMW driver of Wilson Fernandez is going to have to try to capitalize here and to get on his nose. Here he comes out of the double right-handers. Where is he in correlation? It's all going to come up to the final chicane. Here he comes. He gets the toe. We're riding along board inside. Goes to tail. Farmer's going to have to pick a line. Here comes Wilson Fernandez. One picks inside, one picks outside. What are they going to do when they come up to the chicane? Side by side, Farmer cuts him off and makes it stick. Oh, beautiful braking by the Honda driver. They're going to cross the line. Jaden Munoz finishes P1. Farmer slots into P2. Wilson Fernandez P3. Santiago Rolbs coming around here through the final chicane. He's going to slot himself up to P4. Jared up to P5 with Casey Bennett bringing the Ferrari home in P6 with Andrew Jaschke coming down the back straight. Here he comes, Andrew Jaschke, your Apollo winner, championship winner of last season for the Apollo ARC, trying to remember what it's like to be that in GTMR as he's about to cross the line in the Aston Martin. As we see, let's follow along here. We're going to have LaRock coming through. LaRock's going to have Ricky Scott, or is it James Parks in front of him? I believe it is James Parks in front of him as the drivers work their way through. El Taco Man is done. Cooper Simmons is done. Jake Johnson's done. Ricky Scott's done. Kevin Yu is done. Brian Katz is done. Sean New is done. Ladies and gentlemen, so we only have 6 drivers left to finish. They're about to cross the line here. James Parks will be done. LaRock is done. Carter Bennett will be crossing the line here shortly in the Red Bull Aston, finishing it off in P9. What a beautiful finish for this young 13-year-old driver here in the league. Here he comes into the final chicane in the Red Bull Aston Martin, and around the bend here he goes and on to the little front straight here as he's about to cross the line. And here they go. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Your Spa race, your winner, Mr. Jaden Munoz. Wait, we're waiting for someone. Where is it? Mr. Jade Russell. Jade Russell through the final chicane here onto the front straight as he's about to cross the line. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jaden Munoz with your win. Farmer P2, Wilson Fernandez P3. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor and a pleasure to have all of you here with me. But sadly, I have to run. I have a thing called work I have to attend to, so it's apologize on that. For those that would like to join us, just definitely check us out on gridfinder.com as well as thesimgrid.com. You can definitely check us out there and just type in GT Meister Racing, and you'll find us, or you just check out our Twitch page, which you're watching for a Discord link, or you can check us out on YouTube if you want to see prior races as well. But it has been a pleasure and an honor to have all of you guys here with me while you watch. And I just want to say thank you and good night. We'll see you next week at Suzuka, ladies and gentlemen.